Hello and welcome to Author Hour. I'm your host, Richard Lyntton, author of North Korea Deception, Hyde Park Deception, and Leningrad Deception. My guest today is Donna Huston Murray, author of 8 Ginger Barnes cozy mysteries set on the Philadelphia Main Line, and 3 Lauren Beck mystery crime novels, and a standalone called Dying for a Vacation. She has recently been inducted into her high school's Lifetime Achievement Hall of Fame, and no less than 4 of her books have received recognition from Writer's Digest and the National Indie Excellence Awards. Welcome, Donna.
Thank you.
So incredible, so incredible. I think you're the most prolific author we've had on the show.
I've just been at it a long time.
Oh, I love it, I love it. Well, look, let's just start from the beginning. I know you said you wanted to write since you were 10 years old. Mm-hmm. Just give us like the overview. And how many books total have you written, just to be clear?
I have 12 published books.
12, amazing, amazing. Yeah, so I want to talk about, so just tell me about, how it all began.
My librarian and my mother steered me toward Rex Stout mysteries when I was 10. They're clean, they're hard to solve, they have quirky characters, and I thought, probably it's fun to write those. And I never changed my mind.
So, okay, so then what happened? You didn't start writing when you were like out of college, did you? I'm assuming you did other things first?
Well, I wanted to write, and when I was in college, I took the one class they offered for writing. It was very disappointing. The teacher spent an hour on the word orange in a haiku, and I wanted to strangle him.
Right.
But I took other classes and night school, and my education was a little patchy, which maybe explains why I'm a late bloomer.
Okay.
But I got there. So
how many years ago did you start writing proper, like for real?
Oh, 30-some.
Oh, okay. Wow. So it's not like you're one of these, people who writes one a year. I mean, you've sort of taken your time, you do it properly, you don't rush.
I do now. When I was with St. Martin's Press, it was one a year.
Right.
And I found that I just turn out better books when I take my time, and I prefer to do that.
So tell me that story that I read about, like you wrote the book about the Philadelphia Flower Show, mm-hmm. and was it that? Tell me about getting that first agent, because everyone wants to know about that.
I was getting really nice rejections from agents, and I thought, okay, I sat myself down and I said, what am I not doing that they want?
Okay.
First of all, it was a series. I thought that's easy enough. I can start a series.
Wait, so they wanted a series, mm-hmm. And did you, had you written one book yet, or you just finished the first one sort of thing? Well,
I approached them with other things that just didn't work out. But to answer your question, what was missing was a background that people would want to read about.
Yeah.
So I picked the Philadelphia Flower Show because hundreds of thousands of people go. Yeah. It's famous worldwide. I loved it, and I wanted to know more about it. I always like to pick something that I want to know more about, because then when I do the research, my enthusiasm for what I learn translates onto the page. So the Flower Show, I went behind the scenes and quizzed my friends who entered, and had a wonderful time doing that. And then,
so you knew people
who entered.
And you say, hey, listen, I'm writing a book mm-hmm. about set in and or around the Philadelphia mm-hmm. Flower Show. Okay.
Yeah. So tell me what it's like to enter, and people will spend any amount of money for their displays, and they'll not go on vacations for 6 months because they're tending their flowers. It's really crazy.
Wow. So what was the plot? What was the basic story? What was the basic plot? This is the Ginger Barnes one.
Yeah, it's the first of those. Mm-hmm. The first that's the one that got me the 3-book contract.
Okay. And sorry, I just want to be super clear. So Ginger Barnes, how many books series?
8.
8. So 8 Ginger Barnes books in that series, and then Lauren Beck is to date 3.
Yes.
And then you've done 1 standalone. Just one.
Right.
So there's so much to choose from, guys. You won't be sorry. Just take a look and start somewhere, and you'll be set for a couple of years.
Yeah, and they all have different background topics.
Right.
So the Flower Show. So that was my choice to tempt readers and an agent, and it did give me an agent, and he got me a 3-book contract inside of 3 months.
Amazing.
So then I was with the St. Martin's for 7 books, and one of my editors had said, I think you should try a bigger book.
But wait a minute. There's so much exciting stuff going on.
Oh.
So the agent's got you 3 books, so you must have been like over the moon.
Yes.
Right. So then how long did you have to write those first 3 books?
A year apiece, probably. But what happened with What Doesn't Kill You, sorry, the wrong title. The Main Line is Murder precedes Final Arrangements now. Because the editor wanted the Final Arrangements book to coincide with the actual flower show. So he said, can you write the one that precedes it? There was a half of a page in Final Arrangements that suggested that Jen solved the previous mystery.
Okay.
He wanted me to write that in like 9 months to precede it. So I did, and recently I've rewritten it, and
so you
to my own liking.
You were really under the gun.
Yeah, I was, and I find that I don't really do well unless I just, let things simmer on the back burner for a little
So take me back to that time, those few months. Tell me what your writing process was like then. You've literally, you're like the top 5% of authors, of writers. You've got the agent. You've not only got the agent, you've got the publisher, and you've got like a 3-book deal. I mean, that's just incredible. So then what was your actual day-to-day routine like? Were you working at the time, or you could just focus solely on writing?
No, it's interesting. There's a podcast that I'm on tomorrow, and we're going to talk about what everybody does as a sideline when they're in the arts.
What's the podcast? So if anyone wants to look it up.
Roundtable 360.
Okay, Roundtable 360.
Yeah, and we are all different creatives. A dancer, an actress from Luxembourg, a psychiatrist who writes now, and so we're talking about our sidelines, are the ones that keep us afloat. Okay. My excuse is that I was a kept woman.
Okay.
My husband had a very demanding job, and I did all the rest for the family.
Was he a teacher?
He started as a teacher, but he ran a school, Woodland School, which is nearby here.
And right, and that's which school was it?
Woodland.
Okay. And so and then your characters. Wait, no, I'm skipping ahead. Tell me back to that. I want to know about that writing process. Very intense. Suddenly got this deadline that you had to meet. What was it? I want to know day to day. What was it like, and how much did you manage to write?
I spent as much time as I could. I discovered that I needed to do an outline because one of the first books I did, I got to page 50 and I couldn't remember what I'd done with the gun. Yep. And I had to go back and make a lot of corrections and so forth. So I thought, okay, you're the one that does
outline by scene kind of thing. Or not so detailed?
What I developed, and I stole the idea. I put one thought I've got on a 3x5 card. Pink cards are for hot action. Green cards are for background. And the white cards are just some little development of the plot. When I have about 40 of them, I put them on the floor, banish the dog, and arrange them in a logical thing. When I have it in... what I'm looking for is a wave. You want tension and relief, tension and relief. Sort of like Die Hard, the movie, was my always favorite example. Bruce Willis is sitting there smoking a cigarette in between all the action. It's just tension and relief so that the reader doesn't get too uncomfortable and put the book down and never pick it up again. Right. So I'm looking for that. I'm looking for where I need research, where I need more plot, and when
these three colored cards. Yeah. And then how much are you writing? Presumably, what you do one chapter, or you mean you did the whole book like that?
Preferably the whole book.
Okay.
Then I put it in order, and then I take it to the computer and do a paragraph about each card. Yeah. And then I divide it into chapters. Okay. Because I can see where I need a break. Yeah. And then I sit down and write the book. Yeah.
I recently watched a BBC Maestro video course with Lee Child. Oh. Famous American thriller writer. Well, no, in fact, he's British, but he lives in America. Anyway, he was saying, and I did try this recently, but he was saying, I like to just start writing, and then I edit the first chapter, go over it, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and then I go on to the next bit, because he says, I'm excited to start the next day's writing because I don't know what's going to happen. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. And I sort of tried that a little bit. And I just couldn't, it was just too much. Like I wanted the plan, like you're talking about, like I want my 100 scenes and I beginning, middle and an end. But anyway, so that's kind of interesting.
That's called a pantser. Lead shot, pantser, and I'm a plotter.
That's right. So. Okay, so then I guess one of the reasons I was asking that questions was that was in the very beginning. Now skip, how many years later, roughly? You don't have to...
I don't know, a couple decades.
Right, so 20, so now I'm just curious, what is now, today, your writing process?
Well, my husband's retired, and he takes care of it, and we're living in a retirement community where I don't have to clean or cook.
Nice.
So I can write as much as I want.
Wow.
And being in business for myself, I have a lot of work to do with marketing and republishing things. When a new book comes out, last month I had another book put out, and so you have to go back to the old ones and add information about the new ones, and you've learned something new, so you put the QR code at the end so people can do a review and things like that. So that's what I'm doing right now. Wow.
And but in terms of writing, your writing process, I'm curious if that's changed much. Do you still do the 3 colored cards?
One of the books recently I didn't, and it took me 3 months to figure out the ending. But I think that's probably the best for me. I mean, I think it streamlines the process for me. I'm not sitting there looking at a blank screen. I know what I have to do. And
what about like the daily routine? Like, you're a morning writer? Like, what's your daily routine when you're in a good writing flow?
I'm better in the morning.
So what time do you get up?
6:15.
6:15. You go for a walk or anything, or you just go straight to writing?
We have a puppy, and I walk the dog.
So you walk the dog?
You know, feed the birds, and then have breakfast, and then sit down.
And do you have music or anything in the background?
I like it quiet.
Okay. And you're writing on the computer? You're not writing shorthand?
No.
Another quick funny story I just heard was that same course that I was watching Harlan Coben, and he said that he had different ways of getting himself going, and one of them was to get in the back of an Uber, like just randomly, and just tell this guy to drive, and he would be sitting there with his yellow notepads, just I mean, hysterical. I thought, well, if he has trouble, then don't we all? Now tell us about that transition again, as much as you're willing or would like to share. If not, we'll move on. But I'm just curious about that transition from the agent publishing world to then. When was it, and what made you decide to become an independent author?
I mentioned that this one editor wanted me to try a bigger book. And
what did he mean by bigger?
I had figured that out too. It means a thriller with more plot and a more global crime.
Do you like thrillers? I mean, but I'm assuming your passion is the cozy mystery or the mystery.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
My cozies have gotten a little edgier, and my books, the new series, can be considered mystery crime thriller. Cool.
I'm going to jump in. I have a terrible habit of doing this, but just explain to everyone the derivation of the cozy mystery. I didn't realize that, because I was going to ask you what is a cozy mystery, by the way, for people who
lots of people don't know.
Don't know.
Yeah.
And that British connection, if you wouldn't mind just elaborating on that.
Cozy mystery is an amateur detective, very little violence and gore, and an enclosed community like a cruise ship or a small town, something like that, a train, whatever. And it's based on Agatha Christie's, she was like the original, I guess. Yeah. But the cozy refers to the British tea cozy. And so the teapot is sort of the emblem of cozy mysteries.
And again, for those who don't know, a tea cozy, I can literally remember my grandmother, and I used to want to wear it, and they'd say, get that off your head, get that off your head, because it's basically, most Brits would have like a woolly hat, as I call a woolly cat, or you call it a cap, and you literally have 2 holes in it, and you place that over the teapot, just for people who don't drink tea and didn't know. So that is a tea cozy. Yeah. And so that is, I didn't know that was the derivation of cozy mystery.
It is. But the thing that's happened is cozies have evolved into being a little bit sillier and a little less realistic. don't read a lot of them myself anymore because I prefer something a little edgier these days.
When you say silly, what do you mean exactly? Can you give us an
You've
example?
got a hairdresser who's solving mysteries, or a dog walker, or
okay, so it's a bit,
you know, it's
a bit far-fetched.
Yeah,
a little bit far-fetched.
Now, and some of them are meant to be funny, and mine are just meant to be semi-realistic.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
And then going back to the what I was asking about that transition, if you would. For
me?
Yeah, remember that. What was it, and how did that come about that you became an independent author from having a publisher and an agent? Oh yeah, that's right. So he asked you to do a big crime.
He suggested it, and I had 4 editors at St. Martin's Press, and he was long gone, but it stuck in my mind. And after 7 books, Ginger Barnes is basically me.
Yeah.
And I chose that because my husband's work was running a school, gave me and my character great resources. You know, everybody can be connected to a school. You know, any kind of person that I needed to use in my mystery. For example, Trevor Farrell fed the homeless in Philadelphia. He went to my husband's school briefly, and my character could go down to the city and meet a homeless person and get involved in a mystery that way, or whatever I wanted to do. So I liked the flexibility of that. And also, we had a son and daughter, and Jen got a son and daughter, so that if we had anything about a boy or girl, I could work that into. So after 7 books of being myself, it was like, you don't write fiction to be yourself all the time.
Right, exactly.
You know, you want to, pretend to be someone else. So the agent I had at the time suggested I start a new series, and changing voices was very difficult for me. It took quite a long time to be consistent with it. But I want to tell you how I got my new character.
Yep.
I was at a football game.
So wait, sorry, I'm sorry to keep interrupting, but so did you embrace or reject that idea of the international thriller, the bigger picture?
No, I thought it would be a great challenge.
Okay, so you wanted to try it.
I wanted to stretch and, just try something more challenging and different.
Yep.
So.
So then what happened then?
So I needed a new character.
Yeah. And
my husband broadcasts University of Pennsylvania football, and we went up to Cornell. It's always at the end of the year, and it's cold. The guys stick a microphone outside the window to get the crowd noise, and so I'm sitting cowering in this closet with them shivering. And the woman next door in the VIP booth for Cornell invited me to sit with them. So I'm trying to be a good...
Because she thought you were cold?
Yes.
Okay.
And she was very kind about it. And I started chatting with her and learned her life story. She skydived 34 times. Oh, she had an illness for 9 years where she was in and out of an iron lung. When she was cured, she skydived 34 times. She fed sharks from a cage underwater. She learned to fly retired Air Force planes, the ones that were falling apart. Then she learned to fix them. And I'm thinking, this is the bravest woman I've ever met. Wouldn't she make a great main character?
Right.
Well, no. The agent I had said, sorry, it's not going to work. The reason was my character was too brave.
Okay.
When the readers, see that she doesn't react to something dramatic, neither will they. Okay.
Was it your agents telling you again, sorry, or your publisher saying
My
this?
agent that I had at the time.
Okay.
And she was right. So I thought, okay, I'll give Lauren.
But did you write an outline for her, or you just said this is the character? Like,
I think I started writing.
Did she shut you down?
I started writing the book, and just a little bit,
like a couple of chapters.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
And she saw where I was going with it, and so when she finally gave me the insight,
all right, the insight.
I realized that I could give my character a major illness that she's recovered from.
That's a good idea.
But she's got to have some vulnerability to have people identify with her. So I said her fiancé dumped her when she was sick with cancer, and he couldn't handle it, so she's emotionally damaged, and that worked.
Okay, so they liked that?
Yeah.
Okay, so now what? You've got a brand new series still with the same publisher?
No, by that time, it took a long time for me to transition into that character. And I had another book in between, and an agent who didn't know anything about mysteries, and so I fired him.
Okay.
So I was free to do whatever I wanted, and I thought, well, I want to get this out of the house. It's been here long enough. I'll put it out myself. And I found that I really liked the creative freedom, and I like business, so I like that part too. Wow. And I've been doing it ever since.
And how many years ago was that?
8, 9, at least.
And things obviously have changed so rapidly, right, for people like us, independent authors. Like, there's so much you can do. I mean, I'm with you. I that's one of my problems. I kind of enjoy all the business side and the marketing and the videos and the Amazon ads and the Facebook ads. I kind of enjoy all that, and it's not good because I need to get back to really like you churning them out, get them out. One of your interviews, I know you say, because real life often doesn't turn out like I think it should, it always does in my books. I love that. I love that thought. Just elaborate on that a little bit. What do you mean by that?
I can't watch the news.
Okay.
I literally got an ulcer a while back because of the news. And so, yes, real life doesn't turn out the way you want it to, way too often. Right. So it's a catharsis sort of thing for me to make sure things come out the way I think they should. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a really great point. It's like you can. Well, you tell me. What is it you enjoy about your job, your writing? Tell us what you enjoy. Why do you write? Pretty much everything. I like quirky little details. Specifically mysteries. I've always liked quirky little factoids. Like I heard about a divorcing couple getting joint custody of a show dog, and I thought, wow, that's either a really valuable dog or a really nasty divorce. Yeah. So I held on to that idea, and what I do is I wait for something to come along to kind of spark action concerning that. So with that particular one, my husband and I got a puppy Irish setter who we called Gretzky. Our friends called him Marie Gretzky. And we needed a trainer. Okay. So I'm thinking, okay, what if Ginger Barnes has a Gretzky? She needs a trainer. She has a high school friend who does it. She calls and asks for help, and the woman says, no, I can't help you. I've just been accused of training my guard dog to kill my ex-husband. Oh my God, that's great. So the way Ginger gets involved in the mystery, she has to try to save the dog. That's what the woman asks her to do, save my valuable dog. So in order to do that, she has to solve the mystery. I love it. And that book is called No Bones About It. What a clever idea. So you've just bought your own dog, and then as a writer, I feel that's one of the things writers do. They're always thinking, well, what if, right? What if this would happen? What if that? Right? I'm always doing that too. And so that plot came up really because you just bought your own dog, kind of thing. There's always a catalyst to get things moving. Tell me about the awards. Like, I mean, you got so many awards. It's incredible. Just give us a quick run. I mean, you presumably enter competitions, do you? And it's fantastic. How does that? Just tell us which ones you've won. I mean, just give yourself a quick plug. The first Lauren Beck book, What Doesn't Kill You, was a honorable mention in genre fiction from Writer's Digest, and so was the second one, Guilt Trip. And the third one became a finalist in the National Indie Excellence Awards. Amazing. And the 8th Ginger Barnes book was a finalist in the National Indie Excellence Awards as well. Right. And then the Lifetime Achievement thing from my high school is just mind-blowing. So Donna, one of the things I'm also curious about is this transition. You went from being just the writer with the agent and publisher, and then you went into the world of independent publishing, and you've got all these other things to do. The book cover, the marketing, the interviews, the podcasts. So just tell us, and you said you enjoyed the business side of it. So just tell us a little bit about what was that transition like for you, and what were some of the things you did you enjoyed. I found that I really like the creative control. St. Martin's Press, I had no say about the covers. The first cover they gave me gave away my ending. At least they fixed that. They also use colors that I found out they don't recommend, yellow and green and things like that. So for me to be able to choose that and work with my artists is a pleasure.
See, that's one thing, you know, I hadn't even thought of that, like not being able to choose your own cover. That must be so frustrating, especially when it's your first book.
And I have a very visual imagination too. Right. So, yeah, that was just one thing. But I learned something new every day. That's probably the part that I like the best. Every time I need to do something, I have to learn how to do it.
Right.
You know, I'm asking my phone things like, how do you know, freeze your font? Or,
right.
You know, whatever it is. And there's a new app that I love that helps you choose your categories and keywords. It's Publisher Rocket.
Oh, probably, I use that. Absolutely.
Isn't that wonderful?
Fantastic. Yeah.
I'm in the middle of
just so everyone understands. So Publisher Rocket is basically and Donna will help me. It's basically they've sort of put all the information, all the Amazon algorithms and books. And by the way, there are 14,000 different categories of books on Amazon, in case anyone was wondering. But no, so it's just a piece of software, and it helps you to pick your keywords, because it's all about putting keywords and phrases into your advertising, into Amazon ads, into Facebook ads, in order to get the sales.
Right. And when you're doing it in the dark, it's really not very effective. But to have someone help you do that. And that's what's wonderful about it. The people that you need to help you when you're an independent, they're all enthusiastic and welcoming. And when you're with a major publisher, back when I started, there was not independent publishing right away. And they were very arrogant about it. You know, they just... I used to describe it as putting your book in a bottle and throwing it in the ocean.
Right.
If it floated back to shore, they would help you. If it sank, next. Right. You know, it was...
See, that's my thing. Like, that's the thing. I'm glad you said that, because I still sometimes say, oh, well, should I try and get an agent? Should I try and get a publisher? Which I did a few years ago, and then I just gave up because it was too long of a process. I mean, you were doing all these submissions, and it's probably, you know, it could be a year or 2 years before from writing to an agent and then getting a publisher. But anyway, you still kind of have these ideas of, you know, some huge advance, you know, blah, 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 and a 3-book deal like you had. But at the same time, it seems to me that what happens with these publishers is like, they just get all these books and they sort of throw them out there, like you say, and it's just to see what sticks. And if you're the author, I mean, I can literally dial up my marketing strategy for the month, and I know I'm going to make more sales because I'll spend more money, I'd say, on Amazon ads or Facebook ads, or I'll do a book promo. So I literally can, you know, make things happen. Obviously, it costs more money, and you know, you've got to look at your return on investment. But anyway, so at least I feel like I have some, and this is 3 years after my first book was, 4 years now after my first book was published. But I enjoy that too. I think it's just so great. So I definitely encourage people to try. But speaking of which, Donna, why don't you give us some gems, some advice for someone thinking about, like you, when you were 10, they always wanted to write a novel. What would you say to them? They just they just started, maybe they've written a few chapters, or they just maybe haven't even started yet. What would you tell those people?
Don't quit. If it's what you want to do, you don't quit. The people who go into the arts go in because they love the work. Right. They don't necessarily expect great financial success. And just what we're talking about in the round table, as I mentioned, we all have sidelines or are a kept woman like me. But it's very hard to earn a living in the arts, no matter what venue you use. Absolutely. But if you love the work, it's very, very fulfilling. And I felt when I was pre-published, we'll say, I was still benefiting from everything about what I was trying to learn how to do. I learned how to express myself clearly, something you need to do every day. I was learning how to communicate with people. One of the questions I like to ask, which is partly how I make characters, I always ask people what are their interests, because then it goes straight to what they are passionate about. You skip the what school did you go to, where do you live, nonsense, and you hear stories from them that just make their eyes light up. So I was doing things like that, and I was also researching things that I was curious about that I wouldn't have bothered to do if I wasn't going to write about it. I stood on the starter's box of a horse race and the patrol tower. I interviewed 40 different people that had to do with horse racing. And the result was a 300-word article that got in Ford Times magazine. I never wrote the novel. I didn't know how to write a novel back then. But I had a wonderful time meeting all these people. And
do you any particular, I mean, I hate to put you on the spot, but if someone's going to read book one or your first book, do you have a preference of where they should start, or just let them read the book descriptions and let them decide? I mean, do you have a favorite out of the two series?
My new series is doing very well.
Okay. So Lauren Beck, so this one.
Lauren Beck, What Doesn't Kill You is the first one of those. But they're not for everybody. So if you like a softer mystery, the Ginger Barnes are fine. What I suggest is going to my website, and there's one page that gives you like a one-sentence description of each book. You can click on the cover and get a sense, larger description. Okay. So whatever topic I think interests you, I think that would be where to start.
Okay. Thank you so much, Donna, for joining us today. Absolutely fascinating. And congrats on all your books and awards, I must say. You can read more info about Donna at her website, donnahustonmurray.com. It's donnahustonmurray, all one word, .com. You can also see more information for my Deception series, the Deception series, the Eco-Romance series, and my non-fiction local history and memoir series at my website, www.richardlyntonbooks.com. Be good. See you next time.